People who wants people to fight, Rob, and it's not just because it's my job to talk about people when they fight. Nocturne ban!
No way!
EU does not forget! That and it's like solid in the meta, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, he played it twice.
Good at it. Yeah, like just generally good at it.
He played twice in playoffs, won both, 15 KDA, so not fully surprised. I was getting rid of the Draven, so very much looking to say like, hey, we want to try and lock down a lot of this early game stuff with the Draven and the Nocturne, and then Easy Love and Elio kind of falling back towards the Senna quite a bit. But Vi going to be taken immediately here, so I'm curious to see what the response is, because we got a little sneak peek of what the meta was yesterday, but I think there's a lot more to show, and it kind of depends what scrim bubble you're in.
And Vi was essentially permabanned. This is a champion that was very hot and cold domestically in the LEC. It had a lot of games where it took over, it had a lot of games where it was banned, and it had a decent but small number of games where it did nothing, so not surprised to see it prioritized here. Now, Rumble response, likely for Kiaya, although technically on the global scale can be flexed into support, and is something Theo has played before. Tristana alongside it would be a decent option.
That'd be sick.
This does set up for a potential lane swap if it is a Rumble support. And Tristana notoriously strong at taking towers. Rumble very good at pushing. If it's Rumble top lane, of course, we wouldn't expect a lane swap. Rumble a pretty bad champion in the lane swap, but Fnatic, I would say pretty safe, pretty stable draft thus far. Yeah,
so you kind of got a bunch of options. Kerry yesterday was like, I'm happy to actually play the Rumble into these lane swaps because it means I can roam, I can actually deal damage in the early stages and try and play elsewhere on the map. But I'm curious to see if GAM want to go for something similar here. But as you say, Tristana, and if it is Rumble bot, is hyper aggressive. So Jun and Noah going for a Desire Khan kind of says, hey, look, we're not going to be as strong in a potential lane swap, but you can still take Demolish and stuff, still have your Guardian proc for the Rakan, and then still get access to a lot of these waves and towers. So I am curious to see how this one pans out, but at the moment, we're setting up for two heavy team fighting squads either way.
I like the amount of engage that has been drafted, especially on the Fnatic side. Jun and Raz work together, of course, the big point of improvement for them domestically in our spring split. Them shaping up and working well together is part of the reason why Fnatic were able to make a much deeper run. That said, now seeing some support bans taken away, it seems still anticipating that the Rumble will go into the top side of the map, not wanting to give away the free point-and-click engage of the Nautilus. GAM, not 100% sure where most of these champions are going. Maokai in the jungle feels like the only safe bet.
Oh, okay. I was actually going to say, I wonder if GAM are setting up for the Talia pick here, trying to get rid of the Azir and make sure they're all good. But I imagine now with both the Azir and the Talia gone, maybe just an Ahri pickup here for Emo in the mid lane. Something that's very safe, something that can try and play in towards sides and still be a nuisance if you have to try and play any sort of like 1-3-1 or 1-4 with the Ahri. And especially when we've seen Fnatic can lean on team fights, but also have gone for these kind of overload plays in side lanes. It makes sense to have something that can threaten sides a lot against a team like Fnatic.
Yeah. What is the option going to be here? Again, solid 3-4 for Fnatic. Good defensive tools, good engage tools. A lot of explosive team fighting options with the Rumble ult and the Maokai ult, but it depends, of course, where they're going to be playing. Zeri locked in, would confirm the Tristana into mid lane for Emo. He's played it twice already. This will be his third game this season. Of course, new patch, but still very much the same Tristana. Has a lot of safety in the mid lane, but it does leave open counter pick for Humanoid.
Yeah, I'm curious because I think Orin can do relatively okay if you see some sort of lane swap. Okay, so you basically are going full team fight here. Orin can do relatively well in the lane swap, but honestly, I think this is going to be more standard lanes. Oscarinen has looked great on picks like the Cassante, so it feels like Orin kind of fitting into that wheelhouse as well. And then the opposite side for GAM, I mean, you've got options. You could go for something like the Cassante yourself if you wanted to for Kiai on that top side. You could put the Rumble up there, decent matchup. Excuse me, sorry, into the Ornn.
Also, so when we look at this team overall,
that would be his, yes.
There you go. Okay, Twisted Fate. So really leveraging the flex of the Rumble until the last possible second. Now, Zeri Rumble is not my favorite duo lane, but remember that when you talk about this team, it is jungle and top lane for GAM that we are expecting to be the focus. These are by far the best players on the team. So setting Kiai up with the counter option to just snowball wildly ahead of this Ornn early on is pretty powerful. That said, if Fnatic swap now, Ornn much better in a lane swap scenario than the Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate, one of the worst possible options to deal with those 3v1 tower dives early on.
I do think you're in a bit of a hard spot as Fnatic though, because I think in isolation, Tristana should have a decent time against the Quay as well, where you just get to push in waves and you can start to take towers. And even if you start to open up the map, you can always reset, put Twisted Fate mid, and actually have your Tristana that's starting to play out on side lanes as well. So I think you do have options here as GAM. But this is going to be super interesting to see. I hope we do get standard lanes though, because I think in the grand scheme of things, a lot of these matchups are super spicy. And if, as GAM, you are able to leverage that top jungle synergy, this could be a focal point where Oscarinen just starts to fall massively far behind.
Oscarden has been kind of the touted weak point, considered among many the weakest Western representative between the LEC and the LCS in the top lane. Has a lot to prove here. Now, while a lot of pieces of the GAM puzzle feel a little bit weaker coming into this tournament, top lane remains as strong as ever. So a decent opportunity for Oscar to prove himself in this counter matchup. What can he do? What impact can he have? Even if the lane phase is set up to be a struggle, big question on the minds of a lot of fans. We get ready for our first game in this best of 3. Regardless though, I'm just ready to see some fights. I want to see the angles, I want to see the rumble ults, I want to see the setup with the Maokai, the gold cards, the responses on the opposite side from Jun and Razork especially, see if they can continue their dominant streak that we saw even in the finals, that they were unable to win. You know, these two players playing very well together to take the game off G2.
Yeah, I think the only problem that I see for GAM in this matchup is if they start to fall behind, they don't actually have a huge amount of engage, or in general, they're just very, very squishy. So if they don't get the ball rolling early, I think it is going to be a massive struggle for them, because when it comes to team fights, Humanoid hitting you from 2 screens away, Noah with a lot of self-peel for what is essentially either just a gold card with rapid fire cannon or just a Maokai ultimate, I think you're going to be pretty happy here as Fnatic if you can get to those late game fights.
Yeah. Having the Unstoppable for the TF for any potential follow-up ganks. Also, not the most immediate damage when you have the Maokai locked in, right? This is a champion who scales. This is a champion who provides so much in terms of team fight damage, in terms of utility, tower dive setup, but the early game can be a little bit rough. So a window of opportunity here for Razork to try to snowball an advantage, to find a bigger lead. That said, you know, Vi, I think compared to Maokai, can feel a little bit more like an early activity jungler, but also is a champion who very often for us domestically, at least in the LEC, did sit back a lot less of the early level 3, level 4 ganks, a lot more of waiting till level 6 and the sure thing kind of plays, using your laner's CC.
And I do think we'll continue with that trend, especially because it's kind of a sure thing for Humanoid, where you get that Severing Bolt off thanks to the ultimate from the Vi. We saw it a lot when G2 were bringing it out initially, when Hui started to come onto the board, and you'd see something like the Zac in the top lane to just guarantee all this setup for Humanoid. So I do like this pairing, but it definitely gives you significantly less control in the early stages.
Yeah, but as we're talking about the jungle, it is our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz, Razork versus Levi, excuse me. And you can understand why. Obviously, 2 of the best individual players on their team. Emily said it on the desk, and I'm inclined to agree. Probably the best performing jungler in the LEC, both in spring and winter to a certain degree. And while neither of these players, you know, played perfect seasons, I don't think anybody does. They're still always going to be the center of attention. But here, of course, taking a look at all 3 lanes simultaneously. Now that we've opted away from the lane swap, there is a bit of attention that I think can get paid to the bottom side. Not sure what to expect from the Rumble support in this context, other than a lot of early damage. And it seems like Fnatic are just going to have to concede push here. What does the advantage do here? As Humanoid is going to struggle to fight back early on. It does feel like Fnatic are just losing out 2 lanes of pressure. Hard for the Hui to step up, hard for Fnatic's bot lane to step up.
Yeah, and I think that's going to just kind of continue. This is the big upside of having that Rumble support, is just how much damage he deals in the early stages. About a poke that can come through from the E and set up then for Easy Love, who have to get a couple of chip shots. And they make sure that Levi should be in a decent spot here to not get invaded, not be under much pressure. And this is kind of what we're talking about for Emo versus Humanoid. This Tristana is such an easy trade pattern against the Hui that in these quick trades, the Tristana should continuously come out on top.
Yeah. And while the Hui will provide a ton, especially with all the reliable CC options that Fnatic have, the reliable long-range engage options, as we get later into the game, right now it is going to be a bit of a struggle. Kind of a story of losing gracefully for Humanoid in terms of pressure and CS. As long as he can stop Tristana from taking plates, from really leveraging the power of that satchel charge to get an extra bit of early gold, it won't feel too bad as we get later into the game.
Yeah, I think, though, the problem is for Fnatic, you have 3 losing lanes, essentially, now. So if I was the Maokai or even Leo in this point, I'd love to get a deep ward in, spot it where the Vi is, and then it gives me an opportunity to try and desync myself. They haven't spotted Razork, which is why we kind of saw Kiaya playing a little bit cautious in that top side of the map, but early vision control here will be massive in just saying, hey, what lane can actually push and play aggressive? What one can start to chip away those turret plates? But without that vision at the moment, GAM kind of have to play on the back foot a little bit and play more to where Levi is on the map.
Jun, knock up there, pull back from Noah is good. Solid trade, Easy Love immediately going to fire back, but of course, Zeri early trading, not really that lethal. What do they do with this bot lane prio though? No one in position to capitalize. Yeah, using his top lane advantage to just spot and keep an eye on Razork. Scuttlecrab will be warded, so they will have relatively perfect information as their observers wonderfully highlight the Tristana using TP back to lane, matching Humanoid now.
Watch Razork, though. He's managed to sneak around that vision, though, knowing that it was planted by Kiaya. Now, Oscarinin has Kiaya.
Good heads up play. Flash forward, trying to force an early flash out from Kiaya. The chain CC is there, though. It's looking pretty flawless. Gold card in. Kiaya, flash out, doesn't have the ghost, as we so often see for Twisted Fate. Can't quite zoom to safety. He's so close, but first blood for Fnatic. Playing a bit on the edge there, but they do manage to grab the kill.
The red buff slow coming in to make sure they can follow down on Kiaya. Double flash is burnt, but now on the bottom side, and he'll not hit up by the feathers. Just about able to slam his way between the two of them.
Okay, but a nice early play. Gold lead now for the Vi. Can be a bit of a terrifying prospect. One champion on this team who can very reliably lock down that Zeri, getting ahead of the clock. Always going to feel like a bit of a threat as we get later into the game. And overall, good setup. Kiaya, I like, TP versus Ghost, I think has been a debate among TF top players. And in this case, I think the Ghost might have felt a little bit better, but the good news is he is able to immediately TP back to lane and doesn't lose out on too much, but being even in goal with the Ornn, as a Twisted Fate, a champion who literally prints money, is a pretty big feels bad. As we see a bit of a jungle exchange here, Razork, does he want to go for the Q smite? Who's going to get it? Ooh, Levi gets it, but is it going to cost him his life? Luckily, no. Phase rush. He's zooming out to safety, but Humanoid first to collapse, and frankly, Levi in enemy territory with no lane prio. Feels a little bit bad. Severing Bolt is going to make sure that Humanoid at least grabs an assist. Levitt turning back. Extra healing coming in from the Maokai passive. The flash forward, the pullback is clean.
Wait,
Humanoid with the setup. The Razork's getting lower and lower. They get one. They want to get one more. Kiaya. They have to get it to make it a good play. Spiraling Despair should just come out, and that's going to do it.
Oh, bot lane.
Meanwhile, bot lane, Noah's grabbing a kill. Excuse me, Jun's already dead. It's just a 1-for-1 so far. Level 5 versus level 4. Easy Love, does he just want to push the wave here? Noah's on the wrong side of the map.
He has no vision.
TPs. Noah, nice sidestep. Flash out. Oh
my God!
Blinking out! Battered, bruised. Neither side able to walk away with a kill. Rob, we wanted blood.
Yes.
6 minutes, 6 kills. I'd say we're getting it.
Man, this is just a little bit better than lane swaps, just a smidge.
It's a smidge.
This is sick. The fact that I thought it was a little bit of a whoopsie from Levi, right? In fades onto the top side, Emo wanted to go for the reset, so you end up in this position where you're overextended into the jungle, so they end up falling on top side. Now Noah, no flash, just a cleanse available. Elio's in behind them. Oh, they're recalling in the bush. They're recalling in the bush.
Just gonna try to body block. No one needs to run. Oh, that's one dead bird. All right, little fried chicken here on the bottom side. Levi gonna walk in, take that kill away, clear out a bit of vision on the way. Just overstaying a little bit from Noah, but excellent punish from the side of GAM.
They tried to get the wave pushed out, so then I think he wanted to try and finish off maybe an item there, but unfortunately not able to do so. But I mean, we're gonna get the replay here. This is Levi. Look at mid. Emo's already resetting, so Levi only has the 2 members there, whereas Fnatic bring a lot more company up to this top side. And here, I actually thought with that phase rush coming through again, Levi might be able to escape, but then the flash forward, and he's so low. But this was nice from Razork. Lines up the E through Kiaya to kill the Maokai, and then hitting the level 6 off of that kill. Humanoid's able to finish them off.
Levi getting a bit more than he bargained for when he invaded for the Gromp. As we take a look back at this, initial setup is solid here. Rumble gets down a ton of damage. They're not quite able to finish the kill initially, but we've got another play on top side. Point and click CC, baby. Gold card doing nothing. Duo on the top side of the map, taking over. Kiaya wanted the counter matchup, but he did not bargain for the 2v1. Another knockup coming in. Humanoid with a severing bolt, a bit extra CC. Lightning crash coming in for Easy Love, but it's a little too too late. Now dashing over the wall. Extra fast here. Not any parkour left. Humanoid, can he connect? Yeah, that's the Spiraling Despair. Goodbye, Easy Love. There's nowhere left to run. Humanoid now on a killing spree.
Humanoid's had some great roams in this early stages to set up his team for success. Gets the play on top, now the play on bot. With Oscarinin and Razork solidifying that lead now over Kiaya. Emo's kind of left to take a couple of perturb plates with Levi on towards the Void groups as well, but Fnatic are going to be delighted with the way this early game is going.
Yeah, Humanoid's getting scary. Yeah. And look, Humanoid, this is the thing about him. As an EU pundit, if you're unfamiliar with this player, some games he's a little more relaxed. When the pressure's on, this man shows up, and clearly he's showing up today. Nice snipe to kick things off, and Easy Love, it looks all right, but it's not even a full item completed, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best you can do in this situation is Easy Love. Try and play forward to force them back. So maybe you can escape away from Humanoid, but the guy just doesn't miss from those positions. Able to secure another kill for himself. 3-0 now. As soon as he resets, he's going to have his Archangel staff already completed, and he is well on his way. And remember what we were talking about earlier, right? The fact that you get this combo with Razork makes it so easy for him to hit so much of his damage early on. And with Razork also being ahead, Divine Sunder already completed, or Sunder Sky even already completed. He's in a great spot.
And also when we look at this composition overall, right? Kiaya, Emo, Easy Look, 3 sources of damage, all very item reliant, right? No one has that much upfront burst damage, so when we come to early team fights around Drake, when we come to 1 to 2 item skirmishes, Fnatic are just going to be in a much better position, not just because they're ahead of the clock, but you've got 3 champions who are going to feel okay on 1 item, are going to feel good on 2, but really want to get to 3 before they can carry the fight the way their champions are designed to.
And I just don't think you're going to get to that point, because honestly, with the way Fnatic are playing, Oscarinen trying to find the solo bowl onto Kiaya, he's going to be in a good spot. You're already looking at the opportunity to start looking for dragons and objectives, which I think is the next port of call that Fnatic really need to start playing for. Because if you can force this squad from GAM to teamfight, this is where you can try and solidify that win with how far ahead you are.
Levi looking for the setup on the roots, but not going to pull the trigger. Rumble Ultimate, obviously a very powerful damage output tool, but reliable CC doesn't exist in the bottom lane. They pull the trigger. Easy Look, lightning crash. Barely alive. Noah burning, ticking. Starting to fall down. Elio going to back away, overheating. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, Razork going to try to fish. Going to try to follow up the kill. Severing Bolt. I don't think he even needs the range. Humanoid doesn't have the follow-up. Nice knockback from Emo. But Red Buff again in top lane. Now here in mid, finishing the job for Fnatic.
Right, so it's going to go on hunt for the tree, but Kiaya's on the way as well. He might have bitten off more he can chew here. Where are you going? What's the plan?
All right. Was trying to execute, it would appear, but Kiaya patient enough on the ulti. So it does get a big shutdown for the Twisted Fate. First Gold League has had in quite some time, even despite the passive. So maybe an opportunity for GAM to recoup some advantages in the top lane.
I do like this call as well. They're going to try and shove in mid as GAM and immediately look for the dragon, which again is a nice takeaway when you're trying to play this composition that essentially just wants the 1-3-1. So if you can get this earlier objective, it would be nice, but I think they might be missing their window here. Azilov hasn't shoved in bot side as quickly as they would have liked to, and it looks like they're just going to have to back away instead.
1.5k gold lead, 8 kills to 4. Fnatic very much in control, and I think the struggle for GAM here is if they start to lose the vision control, if they start to fall away from these objectives, Fnatic just have so many, or just have more effective tools to really kick things off. Rakan ultimate, Vi ultimate, the Ornn ultimate, they can pick off single targets so easily, and GAM really reliant on 1 or 2 key pieces, things like the Rumble ult, the gold card, to lock down those targets.
Yeah, and even when you're going for the Kraken Slayer for Kiaya as well, means that you're not going to be as heavy on the split push as
Noah. Yeah. I mean, Noah only 400 gold ahead, but crucially you can see Kraken Slayer completed, and that is a huge difference in relative damage output.
Razork's in behind them here, though. And Maokai's nowhere to be seen. Jun, ultimate is about to tick over. They're just looking for
it. The second this ulti is available. R-Flash W if he wants to go for it. Instead, Fnatic's just going to be happy with a bit of bot side priority. Playing for control of the tri-bush here. As long as Fnatic have vision or control of this brush, GAM really cannot step forward anywhere near that Drake.
Especially if they spot that all these camps on the bottom side are taken. They'll have a fairly decent idea that Levi's up on the top side, but Oscarinen
walking away, can't go unstoppable. Nice timing though coming through. Dash out to get out of range of the gold card means a relatively clean escape for Oscar. And again, credit to Oscar with support of Razork weathering the early game storm of this TF, now in a very comfortable position. That was the counterpunch for GAM on the top side, was trying to find the pick onto Oscar while Fnatic took the Drake, and they get essentially nothing from it. Wave gonna get instantly deleted. And yeah, a bit of poke, a bit of harassment coming in from the Twisted Fate, but really nothing else.
Fnatic looking for the pick. Hide on bush is the plan. An Easy Love would just about manage to escape. Nice job from him. But you're going to lose out on a lot on this bot side. Yes, you will get Void Grubs, which means you'll tick over to 6 here for GAM, which is nice when a lot of your plan is to split push. But if you're already this far behind, and it's only getting worse.
Humanoid flashback to make sure he can't get knocked into the tower. Good follow-up damage here. Razork now ulting though, might just get burned down, and the trade is going to be a 1-for-1 thus far. Ulti probably going to connect on the back end of that fight, but now here comes the ult for Oscar. Knockup not going to connect, but does just dash into range against Kiaya. One more auto, the gold card. You got to get it out of there, Twisted Fate. On the way back in, Maokai not going to Twisted advance forward, instead focusing on the pressure. Blinking health bars mean that the dive won't come through, instead just about resetting the wave there.
The thing is though, you've already got Ton of plates on bot side taken. Fnatic now take a ton of plates mid as well. This TF isn't really in a position to carry his easy love.
I'm not going to connect with the ult. He will pull back clean. Humanoid. Barely any mana left, but he doesn't even need it. Rampage for Hui in the mid lane.
It's a bit of a stomp. I mean, GAM, they look confused in the map. They don't really know where they're supposed to be. Yes, you got Rift Herald coming up, but they just feel lost.
Yeah. And you can see in this play, it feels like they have a decent idea of what they want to get here. The buffer comes through, Humanoid with the Respect Flash. And yes, they are able to kill Razork, but not a whole lot else coming from it.
Yeah, and again, you kind of like hovering on mid, he's just trying to be in useless to stop the recall from Humanoid, maybe slow down the tempo a bit. You could potentially look for a Rift Herald off of like wave states and stuff like that, but takes a step too far forward and Jun's able to catch him. Now it's Fnatic with the advantage taking Rift Herald. They're going to have that available for the Dragon, which is going to spawn in just under 3 minutes time, but you can start to put that pressure mid. But honestly, I mean, Humanoid with Jun should take the spot tower here. You can rotate pressure into mid as well. Fnatic just have the map state so heavily in their favor. I don't think you even need Rift Herald to start threatening a lot of these tier 1s.
I mean, realistically, any 2 members of Fnatic can pick off and one-shot any member of GAM. So they have to be so careful about approaching that tower. That's why you see immediately Kiaya backing off. He knows he has no business being there. As we take a look at the MasterCard lane economy snapshot, unsurprisingly, pretty damn favorable for Fnatic. Support position, yes, a little bit extra gold. TF finally back to printing money, but otherwise it's all Fnatic all the time. Get another pullback gonna come through. Ma from Humanoid. Follow it from Razork, though. One very vulnerable Rumble, not a whole lot left. And disengage all now coming in, Levy off to the side, but maybe they want to get the fight started. Razork getting lower and lower. One more TP coming in. It's going to be matched. Jun now trying to turn the fight, stopping the TF from getting any CC down. Emo getting out to safety. Jun now forced to back away, but here comes Oscar. Humanoid untouched on the backside, continuing to lay down damage, but the satchel charge is popping, and it's Easy Love's time to shine. But 2 pieces of CC instantly coming in. Still the Zeri stands. Easy Love living for far too long, but Humanoid and Fnatic, they've got the money to make it work. Shut down going through for Levi. Messy fight across the board.
It was a scramble as Fnatic try to find the members that they need to turn that fight back around, because Oscar Ernan had gone, or sorry, Razork had gone that little bit too deep. But with Oscar Ernan coming in, Fnatic were able to take control of the situation again, but it looked a little bit dicey. Humanoid ends up throwing out a bunch of these Severing bolts, which just burns through his mana so quickly here, but without the continued CC setup, he's not actually able to land a huge amount of them, so GAM able to play around them. Razork goes a little bit too deep, and at this stage you start to see the Humanoids running out of mana, and Noah starting to take a chunk off his health bar as well as he goes up towards Kiaya. But regardless, the CC comes through. They manage to get the kill on Kiaya. Noah's able to start to back away. Great job from Emo here to get the ult to guarantee the damage you need to kill off Noah. And then Razork is able to turn around here. But this is the position I was talking about. Humanoid just completely out of mana. He's just auto-attacking anyone he can, trying to avoid whatever abilities that are coming in his way. But Fnatic just are too far ahead at this stage and able to close it out.
But it does show, especially when we take a look at the teamfight damage, right? They have to be careful on the side of Fnatic about spending all their cooldowns and continuing to try to fight. There are effectively 380 carries on the opposite side. When it comes to sustained damage in later game stages, when the side of GAM has 2 items, you're not going to outmatch them. If that was an even fight, Fnatic probably lose that. It is their lead that allowed them to win, despite, you know, some rough moments. That said, Fnatic only want to continue to extend that lead. First tower going to get knocked down. Oscar about to charge the Herald into the second. Ulti comes in from Maokai alongside the Rumble ulti, connected together. Easy Love goes over the wall, but he's now walking away from the rest of his team. And again, the Severing Bolt from a mile away, ensuring there is nowhere safe for the Zeri to play. Easy Love picked off. Likely this next charge won't hit, but Jun more than happy to have a big purple taxi to take him wherever he wants to go.
It looks like Dragon might be the call here. Might just try and move. Never mind. I was going to say Rift Herald into that bottom side to make sure that it gets it. But it will waddle its way back to whence they came from. Job is done. Taxi ride complete. And Fnatic get themselves a second Dragon. But at this stage, I really don't think the Dragons are going to be the make or break point in this game. It's going to be a case of just trying to get these last remaining outer towers. And again, we see this where Razork does end up going a little bit too far, but Severing Bolt hits from so far away. Jun does a great job of being able to follow up on him here as well. It's so difficult to escape away from this combo. And Fnatic, from that, are just able to immediately take mid tower, knowing that the TF is still on the top side.
And this is why so often when teams want to prioritize Zeri, it's about taking away champions like the Vi, who have the reliable point-and-click CC. Zeri's ability to get over walls shuts down the vast majority of champions in the game. Vi obviously not going to be one of them. We've seen our win probability powered by AWS, unsurprisingly pretty heavily in the favor of Fnatic. This is now breaking off. A lot of cooldowns initially going to go astray. So Fnatic just going to back off on that one. Happy to just try to play for the wave here as Noah clearing out a bit of vision with the Scryer's Bloom. Rob, I think they're in a tricky position here because they have a lead, but there's no Baron to guarantee towers. The good news is that's one beefy Ornn.
How beefy though?
But how beefy Kiaya! It's a wallet diff. Yes, Fnatic are so far ahead, but that's a 1.4K gold lead for the Twisted Fate. Oscar feeling confident, looking good, but Kiaya goes, look, in the 1v1, man, you're not doing anything.
But that's what I was going to talk about earlier, was the adaptation. Usually we see the static shiv when you're playing this to just try and shove the wave as heavily as the TF. But because he's gone for the Kraken Slayer early, watch how much these third autos are doing to his health bar. It's those chip autos that are coming in, and it's that final one that comes through right as Oscar is about to knock him up. That Kraken Slayer finishes off the Ram and makes sure they can't follow through.
It's a classic League of Legends battle. Football referee versus God of the Forge. Football referee wins. Football referee coming in big on the bottom side, firing Despair. Nice Rumble equalizer across the top. Humanoid has the luxury item. He has the arm guard, but it's not enough to keep him standing. Suddenly, GAM starting to tie up. The gold lead not looking so big. Massive shutdown in the bottom lane.
Greedy from Humanoid as well. I mean, Oscar had just died, so there's no pressure for GAM to be on that top half of the map, so they're able to shift members down. Will is a big wave. That's one we need to collect. I wasn't sure if Kiaya was going to TP up there, but nice pick from GAM. And if you get to continuously slow down this pace of Fnatic, well, maybe you get the opportunity to, as you see in Nemo on that bot side, look for these towers. Start to get some going in your favor. And if you get that tempo lead, you just saw Kiaya beats Oscar in the side lane. Humanoid not going to have a great time against Emo in the extended side lane either. So you do have to be careful there as Fnatic.
Side lane threat is massive, right? Fnatic don't really have a good side laner into the Tristana, into the Twisted Fate. Fnatic gonna be about forcing these objectives, forcing fights. They're still at a pretty sizable lead. A lot of the money is just on the Twisted Fate. The other role's still relatively far behind, but execution gonna be the big name of the game here for Fnatic. They can't afford to, you know, get so discombobulated in these fights. You know what you need to do. You know how you need to play the game. You know you set up better for fights, but if you keep taking these scrappy skirmishes, if these cooldowns keep going awry, GAM is a good enough team to punish you, to shut you down when you overstep or miss a lot of those key cooldowns.
I think the one saving grace for Fnatic is how good Humanoid's wave clear is, because it makes it very hard for Emo to kind of push in on side lanes. So I still think, GAM, you have to be a little serendipitous here. Hope that you can catch Fnatic out at these moments and see if you can find a moment where they're trying to shift into, well, bot side now at the moment, but try and cover them. See if you can get an overextended play off of Kiaya.
Question is, does Razork feel confident enough to just jump in against Emo? Now that he's on 2 items, I don't think it's so clear-cut without the support of Humanoid, without the support of these Severing Bolts. Again, the recipe for success for Fnatic is clear. They have fantastic tools. It's all about connecting on those key cooldowns, finding those windows of opportunity. For now, it's just trading objectives across the map. Yes, tier 2 here should fall pretty quickly. Emo can't do a lot to stop this. The rest of GAM on the top side around the Baron right now. This would be a bold call from GAM, but I don't think there's any room for them to go for the counterplay. So essentially just a free tier 2 to the side of Fnatic.
I think they were trying to chase down Oscar and hoping that maybe with that, but they're going to go for it, yeah. I mean, Dragon is up in 30 seconds, so everyone in Fnatic is going for it. The TP, this is off of vision. Okay, they know.
Humanoid knows. They all know. The AoE here, the potential for Fnatic.
The Kraken Slayer, though.
They're just shredding through it. GAM are about to get the first Baron of the game. The Forge God is called, but nobody's picking up. GAM already out. Fnatic desperate. They need to find 1 or 2 kills here. This is crushing. Fnatic not respecting how quickly GAM could take the Baron.
You've double Kraken Slayer on Emo and Kiaya. They're able to rinse the Baron immediately. Now they'll be back out of the map. Now, yes, you will lose Dragon, but you get to reset. You get to set up the side lanes in your favor. And realistically, if you can start to push onto these tier 2s, that's where you really become a threat with this Baron.
And let's rewind 5 minutes ago. We were talking about how these Dragons don't really matter. This game's not going to last long enough at the rate Fnatic were playing, at the rate they were building a lead. Now, we're going to Seoul. Guaranteed. The question is it enough for Fnatic to clean up, play better together? Because 2 items for these 80 carries, 2.5 for Kiaya. It's only going to get more difficult for Fnatic to make these aggressive plays.
And if you can buy time for Easy Love to hit the Navori Quick Blades, you have a fairly strong team fighter with a Fnatic that will be relatively grouped up, trying to follow in on Razork's engage. So there is definitely carry potential here. And as Emo starts to hit up towards his third item as well, that could be the big win con here. Last Whisper definitely going to be needed though.
Catch though is going to be big here. A lot of cooldowns burning to Levi. Going to dodge the bolt, but the knockback coming through just in time to ensure that Levi drops. Noble attempted escape, unfortunately burns the flash in the process, so won't have that available for the next few minutes. 5 seconds till the ulti would have come up. Solid pick from Fnatic to deny any further advantages from this Red Bull Baron power play.
Yeah, they're just trying to eke as much as they could out of the Baron here. And Levi tries to cheat tempo, move in towards his topside jungle before he has mid and top really in a position to have support from his team.
Yeah.
And good job from Fnatic to collapse on it and deny that opportunity.
And unfortunate for Levi that twice now this game, it's this exact top side of the map where he's made 1 or 2 mistakes, where it's been a little bit difficult. You know, he's got caught out twice there. The first time up against Razork, overstaying for an extra cam steal. And the second time here as well. Stops the Baron push. No tier 2 is going to fall. Mid lane doesn't fall either. So, bit of a stymied Baron power play. Down 500 gold from what the Baron gives you. So for GAM, we often talk about Baron buying time, and that's essentially it's all its spot.
And I do think it's worth it though, right? Realistically, you are waiting on some of these items to come through as GAM, so if you can deny these objectives that force you out of these side lanes, you're in a better spot as GAM. And now they're just trying to ping pong a couple of these waves. They can't really step up past mid wave because they don't really have full control over the mid wave with how well Noah clears out that wave. And Fnatic are kind of using that to say, right, let's slowly but surely start to eke control, but a lot of members starting to group around this mid lane for GAM. And Fnatic have left themselves a little bit exposed here with how many members were looking for Kiai on that top side.
At this stage, though, I don't think GAM are going to take too many risks to force a pick. Mostly just shadowing to make sure they can push in where they want to. Oscar obviously just continuing to get tankier and tankier. The Ornn items start coming through shortly, only further extending the lead the Fnatic have built themselves. Down to about 3K. 3 dragons might matter more here as we get later to the game, but really just need to keep our eyes on those key cooldowns in the fights to come. 5 flashes up for the side of Fnatic. Levi no flash to his name. Could make things a little bit trickier, but we're in this stalemate where both sides are just pushing waves. Neither side wants to overcommit.
So essentially what needs to happen for GAM here is what you're seeing for Kiai now. If he can shove in this wave to the tier 2.
On to Levi, they know he's got no flash. There's no real follow-up here. He's all on his lonesome. Rumble already on the way out, and yet another pick onto the Maokai. Good heads-up play from Fnatic to punish the missing summoner spell.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you can get that wave shoved in top, then you can start to have Kiai TP onto the mid wave and threaten anyone who comes forward on Fnatic. But Fnatic beat them to the punch. They end up collapsing onto this topside jungle, knowing that GAM haven't got the members there, and again find that pick onto Levi. So nicely done by Fnatic, and just making sure that GAM can't play it past this mid wave, or sorry, this river point on the map without getting punished.
See if there's any follow-up, though. It feels like it's just going to be the pick, just a little bit more gold into the back pocket of Fnatic, just extend their lead a tiny bit. 2.5 items. Interestingly, double Last Whisper coming through for the side of GAM. We assume that's going to be a Lord Dominic's. Very focused on just tearing through the front line. As we get later, Rob, I feel like Fnatic, excellent vision control on the top side of the map. If they can just keep catching members out from the side of GAM, they should have a sure path forward to Baron. And looking to close out this game, but for GAM, again, the carries are getting stronger. Yeah,
I think the biggest problem for GAM is that you have to force yourself into these Last Whispers because you don't really have a guaranteed magic damage threat. Yes, you've got the Rumble, but it's a support Rumble on nerfed support item patch up against Oscarinin, who just gets to build armor against all these AD threats. So yeah, that's kind of where you need to get this early aggression, and unfortunately, if you don't get this completed earlier, Oscarinin is just going to be an absolute menace when it comes to these fights, and no one's really going to be able to kill him.
What we saw on the top lane 1v1 a while ago here is yet again Razork committed to finding these picks. The Q flash to secure it. Yaya spotted out now, is going to need to start running. Likely doesn't have enough time to get his ulti off. Can go for the gold card. The Crushing Maw already came through. Yet another pick. Yaya wants to tear through Humanoid, but the Seraph's shield is there. 2 picks, 30 seconds before Baron is up. The path in front of Fnatic's clear.
That's actually a bit heartbreaking. I think Kiai could have got the reset off, but he expected the Severing Bolt from Humanoid to come through, but Humanoid had just used his QE combo on the wave, so wouldn't have had access to the Severing Bolt, and he would have been able to escape, but it's been unfortunate. But either way now, we'll be Fnatic with access to the map, and all we're looking at is bot side to see what Emo can get in return.
Emo just keep walking away from the Ornn. I don't think there's anything else to be got here, but Razork just wants to continue to play for picks. Knowing if they take Emo out, the Baron is still relatively easy. Flashback from Emo. Ulti there. Chain CC flawless. Knockback from Emo. Stops off scoring it for a second, but it's Razork again on a killing spree. 7, 3, and 7. He has been everywhere on the map for Fnatic.
And easy love. Gotta just try and clear at the mid wave. Levi gonna get spotted here.
Throws down the ulti. Waiting, holding onto the Rumble ult. It's not available yet. Level 11 for Leo, but not really finding anything else here. So just a forced retreat, Severing Bolt. Nice sidestep from Easy Love. Fnatic really trying to get control of the Baron area. Bit of vision on the top side of the pit for GAM. Otherwise, relatively unwarded.
You GAM playing very aggressive on mid wave to make sure that you can't get the shove in, and maybe Fnatic can look towards the mid turret in the base instead. But now Fnatic, they just turn over towards the objective and look for the Baron. And there's nothing you can do here as GAM. You have no flash, you have no way into the pit.
5K, it's getting lower. It would take a miracle to steal this one. Razork not gonna let it happen. Baron buff, Dragon Soul for Fnatic, 6K gold lead. Surely this is just their win, but GAM want to keep going for these cheeky plays. Kiaya running through tower. Gonna feel pretty bad given how fast Razork is. Likely to punish. Levi covering though means Fnatic don't feel confident to immediately engage. TP in, extended fight. Fnatic just continuing to chase.
They're just trying to look juicy, give their space.
Knockback, good damage onto Kiaya, just gonna get teared through. It's like Razork versus the world right now. The rest of Fnatic playing for the objective as well, but it's just the Spy almost single-handedly shutting down GAM. Levi gonna get away from the grasping Maw. Just gonna be a slow death here for the Maokai. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, already the pressure forward coming in from Noah and Jun. Yes, there is an effort on the top side of the map from Emo to push back to get a tier 2 for himself. He's likely to grab it, but it's probably gonna cost him the inhibitor line. No ulti for the Rumble. Not a whole lot else to speak of, so Fnatic, scrappy exchange overall, but likely this is where they end it.
Yeah, Fnatic should be able to, it's not even the fact that you're going to be able to close it with just this push, but it's creating that pressure onto the bottom side of the map. Makes it so easy now to look towards mid, start to threaten the tier 2 on top, and Emo has to run the entire way back because Oscarin is just trying to chase him down.
And even though they stop Emo from recalling, even though it's only 2 members in the base, Fnatic don't want to take the 2v2 under inhibitor towers, so GAM will at least survive for one more reset. We'll see. For now, Noah and Jun grouping in the mid lane, very likely to just push out mid, try to focus down these big objectives. And overall, I think some good efforts here from GAM. At the end of the day, the scoreboard's not going to look pretty, but found 1 or 2 fights to really stop Fnatic from pushing the lead forward. Now, however, I think it's just too much. Fnatic are simply too far ahead.
Yeah, I think it was the lack of early vision for GAM just gave so much control to Fnatic. Razork was able to get in position multiple times. Humanoid had some great roams, and now they're bearing the brunt of it. Dragon Soul, Baron buff, with a way that's very far ahead and just looking to take pop shots.
Just look how far back Humanoid's playing. He does not need to risk anything. He can just throw out ulti, he can just throw out QW, the Severing Bolt. That's the only thing he really needs to do in these team fights for Fnatic to come out on top. That said, continuing split push from Kiai, he's pushing into Super Salver, so it seems like he's just more determined to get more money to get that 4th item, as it's very unlikely that he's going to be able to break an inhibitor tower. Fnatic, however, can just, knowing they have a man advantage, or assuming they do as they saw TF on bottom side, can start to get aggressive here in the mid lane.
Yeah, at this stage they can just dive the tower. Essentially they're just waiting for the wave.
Rumble ulti.
There you go.
They're trying to kill the wave, but they're too strong. Fnatic, Noah at 4 items. Fnatic very likely to just end it here. GAM, though, holding their own. Fnatic giving them a lot of respect.
Yeah, he hasn't stopped. He's still going.
TP now coming in from Oscar. It's 3 inhibitors down. I'm not going to tell you that this is good for GAM, but they at least stop Fnatic for ending.
Yeah, Kiaya gets the ult out. So, I mean, they do slow it down. Again, like, this will be Fnatic ending, but it's just GAM kind of poking them in the side, continuously just being frustrating. And they do have to reset. You still have those 6 Void Grubs buff on GAM with an ADTF. This is going to be a little bit terrifying when he gets access to towers, so they do have to respect it, which is why Oscar and TP's back in. And now, with the waves pushed out, it kind of feels like we're waiting for the 2 more waves to be shoved out, try and get Fnatic to push GAM back into the base. Maybe they look for an Elder, or maybe they just feel like they're strong enough to just dive the 2 Nexus turrets and look for the end there.
Feels pretty impossible for GAM to come back at this stage. An Elder Steal would do it if Fnatic want to try to risk going for it, but I think they're just going to be happy to push in here. They know they have a man advantage. Emo currently backing. Forge God called. Flash comes out from Elio, and he's immediately going to get locked up. Another Q flash from Razork. Does not hesitate to try and find his man. Gold card on the backside of Ki will lock up Razork for a brief moment, but they're just getting torn down. The 3 carries left standing, but all of the front line is dead. GAM Long, slow end here coming in from Fnatic. Noah trying to style on Easy Love. The last man standing, and there the feathers pulling back will be a triple for Noah. Fnatic taking game 1 in the series.
Fnatic looking very confident in game number 1. Waited it out to close it, but realistically it was